Hey, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone I have caught you on. And it all depends on when I decide to fully upload this video. But I wanted to jump on. And so first let me say that I can't promise you that I won't have any interruptions because my kiddos are still awake. But I needed to do this while I was able to, and while I had some things on my mind and my heart. So, yesterday was a rough day, right? Let me back up. I've always struggled with just putting things out there, right? And I have to realize that this is now me. And so in order for the more messages that I get of thank you and thank you for you motivating me by saying X, it makes me want to do more. And so thank you all so very much, because those help me more than you could ever know. So yesterday I wasn't feeling well. And a lot of times I will keep pushing myself and pushing myself. And you know how sometimes God has a way of trying to sit us down and we're like, but wait a minute, Lord, I need to do X, Y, and Z. That was me yesterday. And it's me many days, if I'm being honest. And I had so much that I needed to get done that it just wasn't a day that I felt like I could sit idle, but I didn't feel well. I had pains left and right. I was exhausted. I woke up tired. Like it was, I was on a conference call, and yesterday was Monday. And I can remember somebody saying, "How are you doing?" And I was like, if I'm being honest, I'm tired. No, better yet, I'm exhausted. And it was 10 o'clock yesterday morning. And so that kind of shows you that was my day. And, I gave myself permission to be yesterday. So after I wrapped up, finished working, which was fairly early for me on yesterday, I just gave myself permission to be. I gave myself permission to sit idle. I gave myself permission to do nothing. And so there was a moment where I got the kids settled. Again, I have a 3 and a 5 year old, so I'm always tired. But yesterday was a different type of tired, and so got them settled, and I literally just I came upstairs and I did nothing else, and I did nothing else but reflect. And with me not feeling well, it put me, again, being honest with you, it put me in a space of why me, right? Why am I not feeling well? And it's probably more times than not sometimes, but I keep pushing through it. And this is the plug. So if y'all haven't gotten my book, you'll know everything that I deal with because it's in there. So if you haven't gotten it, I need for you to log on to my website at www.letitiaBrussell.com/shop. Go ahead and grab that book. But it was just that moment that I continued to ask myself, why me? And I quickly had to turn that around because why not me, right? How many of you question, why am I going through this? But you have to kind of change that up sometimes because God gives us things, whether it's a word, whether it's a feeling, whether it's those trials that we've been through, and He gives it to His toughest folks that He knows. I know you can handle this, right? And I had to now place myself in that place, in that situation, in that story, and in that moment to say that you're giving me this for a reason. Now I'm going to take that reason. And so I stopped asking myself, why me? Why am I not feeling well? Why am I exhausted? Why am I in pain? And again, I had to realize myself, be still. And it's okay. Allow your mind to start kind of thinking through things versus you feeling like I can't turn it off because I've always got to do something else. And so I turned that why me into why not me, right? It didn't break me before. It made me stronger. And when I tell you it, I'm going to list out all of the it's: child sexual abuse, physical abuse, the fact that I almost died with having my children. And I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to break it down to you because some of you don't know that story. I was told that I couldn't have kids, right? And so it was a blessing to find out that I was pregnant not once, but twice. And I remember we were going through premarital counseling, and I'm going to put it all out there, y'all. The pastor asked us to abstain from having sex. And we were good with that, no problem. And then it hit me. And it hit me because the doctors had told me that I probably could not have children. based on other things that I had gone through and then surgeries that I had. And I broke down, and we were in the parking lot, and I was like, we need to start now, right? We were engaged, mind you. We were engaged. We were months from getting married, and I was like, but I can't. We need to start now, because if 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 um if we don't start now, they told me I can start in vitro, but I have to be, at least start trying to get pregnant for 6 months and showing that for at least 6 months. And so I really just had that moment where I broke down and went back in, and I asked the pastor and gave him my situation. And he looked at me and he said, the problem is you can't be faithful and obedient, right? Wow. That's how it was put to me. So I needed to trust that while in that moment, the doctors were telling me one thing, but God has the final say. And I'm going to fast forward and say, I found out I was pregnant immediately after honeymoon, right? And so it was that moment where I didn't trust. I didn't trust him. And I should have, because he never steered me wrong in any other thing that had gone on in my life, any other ask, any other prayer. And so why not now? Because I was discouraged and I was afraid, because I had said to myself, I waited and I tried to do the right thing. And here I am, doctors are telling me that I will not be able to have kids. Again, fast forwarding, I had my daughter. And I had to have an emergency. I went in there and I was like, I don't want any drugs. I'm going to have kids. I just want all this natural, right? I'm going to do it. Because after being told that I couldn't, for myself, I had something to prove. I hear kids. So again, I'm going to apologize. But I had something to prove. That first contraction hit, and I was like, I can't. And so gave me an epidural, and immediately after having the epidural, I began to seize, and I had to have an emergency C-section. Went in, had the C-section, and after I delivered my baby, my blood pressure was so high. The doctors had to stick me 10 times in order to find a vein. After the 10th time, I remember hearing them, because mind you, I'm loopy because it was an emergency C-section. So they had to drug me more than the average person who goes in for a C-section. And so I remember the doctors leaning over me saying, try and find one in her neck. And that's where they found one. So it was a rough patch, right? And I was down on myself because I wasn't able to have children naturally. Again, lots of gaps. So I'm going to fast forward. Pregnant with my baby the second go round. And at that point, they were like, this is scheduled. Like, no, you will not try and labor given what had taken place the first time. And so went in, scheduled C-section, knew the birth date. And after they tried to put me under or give me drugs, I still felt each time my physician would cut me. So unfortunately, she had to put me to sleep. And so I could not experience what I felt at that time, the joy of laboring and even being awake through the births of my babies. And it was rough. And that weighed on me for a while. And even now when I hear ladies that your water broke and you go through, sometimes I'm like, man, I didn't get an opportunity to experience that. But again, it's okay. Because why not me? God has blessed me with beautiful babies. They're healthy. And so again, if that didn't break me, I continue to tell my story. So, being diagnosed with seizures at a very young age, being diagnosed with alopecia many, many years ago, being diagnosed with neuropathy a few years ago, being diagnosed with menopause at the age of 43 a few months ago or a few weeks ago. Yes, that's what I said. In my true, authentic self, it has been hard, but I have continued to push forward, right? And so I can't tell you how to grow without sharing my story. And so I can't hold back, and I can't say, well, I'm only going to give you bits and pieces of my story so that you can think, oh, it's easy, because it's not easy, right? But my story is what helps me grow, and my story and my message is what will help you grow. So you will experience some bumps in the road. That's normal. But what's more important is that you get up from those bumps in the road. What's more important is that you level set, right? So don't say this bump in the road just means I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't keep moving forward. I shouldn't keep pushing. No, it doesn't mean that. What it means is you just level set, validate what your go forward and what your next step is. That's all that means. Will times get hard? Times will be rough. Nobody promised you that it would be easy, right? But you will finish. And so the goal is to get through that finish line. And the goal is you need to let go of the things that are not purposeful in your life. You need to let go of the things that are not pushing you forward, the things that are bogging you down. So what I will say to you is, for that individual that is struggling with what's next for me, I'm not feeling it today. That's okay. Level set, take a step back. You might have to take a few steps back. But what I will say is pick yourself back up, push your shoulders back, and keep moving. Because what's for you is for you. I apologize for the long video. I had to look, it's about 11 minutes. And I apologize if there is a short gap in this video. I'll try to edit it so that it's not. Y'all have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wherever you all are. And I will see you all next time. God bless.